So the boss of Warner Brothers has reminded us that they want to do more and more and more Lord of the Rings content. My oh my, how many of us should know by now that making more adaptations is a bad idea? Wes, hi everybody and welcome to another video. My oh my, it seems that they are not going to stop, are they? Well, but it is kind of obvious at this point of time. I have said it and repeated it many times before. And look at the screen, please, my dear friends. We are not going to get rid of more adaptations and prequels and sequels and rip-offs and sod-offs for the longest time. Welcome to European Law, my dear friends. And if you've been following my channel for quite some time, you know what I think about adaptations and mega franchises. Oh yes, my reaction always goes like,
No, sir, I didn't like it.
Oh yes, indeed. And if you read the headline in front of your eyes to an article by Bounding Into Comics, it says, David Zaslav reiterates his plan to focus on big franchises like DC, Harry Potter, and The Lord of the Rings, says they have been underused. Now, if you ask me, I would use the complete opposite word, and that is overused. What do you mean underused? I have been observing too much, quote-unquote, Lord of the Rings and DC Comics content lately. And as far as Harry Potter goes, now, I think that a adaptation or adaptations of each and every single novel plus the quote-unquote extended universe in the form of the Fantastic Beasts that was really only based on a short quote-unquote textbook that J.K. Rowling wrote years ago about the magical creatures from the Harry Potter world. That is too much, but it's all about money. It's all about that famous name, that famous franchise, that famous IP that those huge corporations, be it WB or Disney, they want to milk it all over and over again until the udder is completely dry, but they still do continue milking it. And now, of course, our dear David Zaslav reiterates his wishes to milk even more. And what do you think the outcome is going to be? Well, we will find out. But let us dive into the article and find out what exactly he said. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav recently reiterated his plan to have the company focus on its big franchises such as Harry Potter, DC, and The Lord of the Rings. According to The Wrap, Zaslav appeared at the Goldman Sachs Communicopia and Technology Conference, where he declared, one of the other real strengths of Warner Brothers is we talk about the great IP that Warner Brothers owns. While he knows they have strong franchises, he went on to explain the company has failed to properly use them. But for us, the challenge is that our content, our great IP, now two words I bloody despise coming one after another, content and IP. Where's a franchise? Yeah, Harry Potter, DC, and The Lord of the Rings, that content has been underused. Yeah, sure. And it continues. Specifically, Zaslav referenced they have let Superman rot, not giving the character his own film since Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. He also noted this is the case with Harry Potter and The Lord of the Rings. We haven't done anything with Harry Potter for more than a decade. We haven't done anything with The Lord of the Rings. And the inevitable outcome, my dear friends, is going to be the same as we can observe with the other side of the barricade over at Disney Marvel. Now, I have been a lifelong fan of comic books, and I know something about the source material and the medium. And so I was excited at the beginning of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that we are getting quality-made films, such as the Iron Man, and then, of course, the first Avengers. The entire Phase 1 was great. But then, of course, two things gradually happened. First one was the decline of the quality of the product, which is the same thing that happened in the comic book medium starting about 2012. And along with the decline, a fatigue came. Now, one more thing, the same. Star Wars. Bad quality, too much content. People get tired of it. You eat one and the same thing every day, you will get sick of it, no matter how much you like that meal. So, if they start popping up Lord of the Rings content and Harry Potter content each and every single year, even the normies, even the people who have never touched a book written by John Ronald Reuel Tolkien will get tired of it. Not even mentioning people like me, a Tolkien purist, who always goes for the source material if given the chance. So my stance is a bit special. You know that if you've been following my channel. I just don't like adaptations at all. But even to the people who don't mind adaptations, even to the very too much free, quote-unquote, free-thinking people who have got nothing against, for example, the Rings of Power, they could get tired of it. But then again, there are many people, on the other hand, I have to admit, there are many people who are just devouring everything, every single piece of that bloody content that is being crapped into their mouths, either by Disney or by Warner Brothers. Just look at all the people who are absolutely ecstatically excited about each and every single Marvel show or a film. Now that's a proper consumer. And it continues. While Zaslav stated the franchises have been underused, he did make it clear he doesn't want to overuse them either. We've got to be careful not to overuse the content. That's not going to happen. Nevertheless, he asserted, we think there's a lot of shareholder value in attaching a 10-year DC, a real plan around DC, bringing Harry Potter back to HBO for 10 consecutive years, doing multiple movies of The Lord of the Rings. So there are 2 paragraphs, one after another, and in the second one, he absolutely contradicts what he said in the first one. So we don't want to overuse the content, but we want to make Harry Potter films for 10 consecutive years and doing multiple more movies of The Lord of the Rings. I mean, sure, David. And the article continues. He highlighted this by noting that without these franchises, the company's performance is relatively flat. And that's what I was referring to at the beginning of the video. Those huge names, those huge franchises, they are making the money for the company. It's the main income. And even more money then, of course, comes from all the merchandise and memorabilia, all the action figures and toys and tchotchkes and T-shirts and socks and mugs and things like that, lunch boxes. Do people still have lunch boxes? I don't even know. So, and everybody buys things with Superman on the cover, or, in front of, on it, Superman T-shirt or whatever. So people will always buy this. So yeah, on the other hand, we can't really blame them. And however, he added, when you put those franchises in, it's the best performing studio in the world. We need to deploy our best capital, and we need to do it with the best creative people in the world. Yeah, and the rest of the article just reiterates what has already been stated before, and what I have covered in my previous videos, and what Bounding Into Comics have already written about as well. So I will post a link in the description down below, so if you want to read the article in its entirety. But once again, all of this has been covered already. Basically, that they just want to make more Lord of the Rings films, and that they want to commit to making more Harry Potter TV shows and films for 10 years, and they want to basically remake Harry Potter into a new adaptation, that they would adapt the books again. It's just all pointless in my eyes, and it's got no future. There is lack of originality, lack of creativity in Hollywood in general. But once again, this is very well known. This has been stated before, and I want you to tell me in the comments down below what you think. And that will be all. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm out of here.